Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today we have an all-new project pan update. So I was a little bit worried this month because we had the Sephora savings event and I thought I am not going to have nearly as much progress on my products as I would like. But I actually did pretty good, in my honest opinion. There are some products that didn't get as much love, and there are some that did very, very well. So I will share that with you. There are also some products that are leaving the project, and there are some new ones coming in. I mentioned last month that I was struggling a little bit with feeling like I was in a bit of a rut with my project. So I have made a couple changes, which I will share with you. So let's just hop right into it. So first up is my Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Foundation. So I put this one in because this isn't a foundation that I dislike, but it's also not a foundation that I love. This one is fine, but it does tend to feel a little bit heavy on my skin, which I really don't like. And I also have the shade 2, which is a little bit too deep for me. I think you can tell that I have used a fair amount of this foundation. It's just that I don't love it and I don't get excited to reach for it. But given that it is Charlotte Tilbury, I thought let's put this in, let's use this up. But that's not fun, and I don't like feeling like I have to reach for it. So I am going to take this one out for now. I will come back to it eventually. It's just that for now, this isn't fun to reach for. I'm not going to have any progress on it, so I am going to leave it out. The next product is my Natasha Denona Mini Biba palette. I love this one so much. This is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes, and the goal with this one is to hit pan on that middle shimmer shade that I love so much. So I did use this a few times this month, not as much as I would have liked, but I feel like you can see a really noticeable dip in that shade, and I do think I will eventually hit pan on it, hopefully during this project, but I will keep this one in and keep working on it. I was kind of debating because I don't have a lot of progress on the other shades, but I thought those aren't even the goal. The only goal is that shimmer shade because I love it so much. So I'm going to keep this in and I'm going to keep working on that shade because I think it's beautiful and I do get excited when I reach for this. Next we have my Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun Kissed Glow Bronzer. This one has been in the project since the very beginning of the year, and last month I did manage to hit the teeniest tiniest pan right in the middle, and I did use this bronzer a lot this month. Maybe not as much as I could have. I was trying out some new bronzers, some new products, so maybe not as much as I could have, but I definitely did reach for it quite a bit. The pan is slightly bigger, but not by much. However, I do think I am going to take this out because I have hit my goal of hitting pan, and I will move on to something else. But this has been fun to have in the project because I love this formula. I just love the consistency of this bronzer. It's very moussey. So it's a little bit stiffer than most of my cream bronzers, but because of that, it just blends out so beautifully and it melts right into the skin so that it ends up looking airbrushed. This is one of my all-time favorite cream bronzers. I really do love this and really enjoy this, and it hasn't been an effort to have this in the project just because I do love it so much, but I am going to be taking it out of the project because I have so many other bronzers in my collection and I would like to show a lot more bronzers some love. Next is my blushes, and for my blushes this year I have had a usage goal as opposed to a panning goal. It is really hard to hit pan on a blush, especially when you consider how much blush you actually use on each application. It's not really like a powder where you might use it all over the face or a foundation. Blushes are really hard to hit pan on. So I've had a usage goal of 8 uses per blush, and at first I had 15, and though doable, that's a little bit high for somebody who wants to use as many blushes as possible. So I dropped it down to 8, and I only put 1 blush in for the month of April because, again, I was very cognizant of the Sephora savings event. Last month I added in my ColourPop Pressed Powder Blush in the shade Swirled, and I am happy to announce that I did hit my goal of 8 uses. I was worried I wouldn't because I got really obsessed with that Patrick Ta blush in Not Too Much, and then I got the Dior blush in Rosewood, and I didn't think I was going to use anything else for the rest of the month, but I did make myself focus up and use this. I do have it on today. Today was actually my 8th usage, so Perfect timing, but I love this blush. This is a really beautiful peachy pink. It works with everything. It's a really great everyday blush. I love this formula. It is more softly pressed, so when you dip into it, it can be a little bit powdery, but it is just such a really beautiful blush, and I love reaching for this one. So this was fun to have in the project, but because I did hit my goal, I am taking this one out as well. Next is my Pat McGrath Under Eye Blurring Powder. I have the shade Light, which is the very lightest one they have, and I've made a little bit of progress with this. So last month I tried out the Givenchy powder, and that is now my all-time favorite powder. I also was testing out the new Hourglass pressed powder. So this one didn't get as much attention as it could have, but I really have been focusing on this one, I would say, over the last week and a half, and I can definitely see that we're getting a bit of a dip right in the middle, which is exciting. So this is one, again, it might take me until the end of the project to actually hit pan on this, but I really do like this powder. I'm wearing it today. It really does look so nice under the eyes. I really do enjoy this powder a lot, but hopefully I will have a lot more progress over the coming months. I also added in my MAC Volux brow liner in the shade Brunette. So this is the MAC brow pencil. I think this has been discontinued. So this is just a wood pencil. It has been discontinued, so I don't think you can get these anymore. I think they just launched some new brow products as well. But this one I always liked because it is a pencil, but it has sort of like a velvety powder texture to it when you put it on the brow, so it almost looks like a brow powder. It just looks more natural than most brow pencils. So I do really like this, but again, I've had it for a really long time. I've probably had it for quite a few years, so I am ready to just use it up and get it out of the project. And because it is a wooden pencil, it's actually taking a lot longer than any other brow pencil I've used. So that's kind of interesting, but I don't mind reaching for this every day. I'm really not that picky with brow products. I just want something that is going to get the job done, essentially. So I'm fine to keep using this up. I'm happy I made some progress throughout the month. I didn't reach for anything else in my brows, so I'm not surprised that we did well on this, but I'm happy to keep working on this one. Next up is my Lawless Glam Guard setting spray. I use this one every single time I did my makeup. I also used this to spray my brushes whenever I was using shimmer shadows as well. And this is in a Charlotte Tilbury bottle because the nozzle on the Glam Guard setting spray, as good as the setting spray is, the packaging is not so much. The nozzle ends up getting jammed, and I've heard that from quite a few people. So I ended up just pouring mine into an empty Charlotte Tilbury, and I believe I put this in March, and it was up to here. Then it was down to here at the beginning of April, and now we are down here to start May. So I'm really, really pleased with that. This will definitely be an empty next month, so that's always something to look forward to. But I do love this. I think it really does lock in the makeup. I think it really does a great job of sort of melting everything together. It is a really, really nice setting spray. I like my Charlotte Tilbury setting spray more though, so I won't be repurchasing this, but I am excited to have it used up. And the only empty we have this month is my Winky Lux Unibrow Brow Pencil. So I think at the beginning of last month, I said I had 1 or 2 uses left. It took me a week, but I did get this all used up. There is no more left. This is completely empty. And this is another one I had for a really, really long time, so I was really excited to have this used up, but this is an empty. It was fine. It wasn't special. It is a larger, more triangular tip brow pencil, so it made really quick work of the brows, but I'm happy that it is considered an empty. So let's talk about the products that are coming in and what is changing. So since I hit my usage goal on my blush, I am cycling that one out and bringing in another blush, but I am going to be adding in 2 blushes because I have a usage goal of 8. We're going to have 2 blushes this month. And the 2 blushes I decided to cycle in for May is the Milani Powder Blush in Tea Rose. So this is one I've had for a really long time. It's so pretty. This is a really beautiful dusty rose type shade. Very, very pretty. And there was a time where this was like the main blush in my collection. I used it every single time I did my makeup. I love this, but I haven't reached for it in forever. So I thought I would put this in this month, and I've been thinking about it for a while. So I thought, what better time to bring this in? And I also wanted to bring in a more peachy option. So I brought in the Rose Ink Lip and Cheek Color in the shade Delphine. I fell madly in love with this last year. This is such a beautiful cream blush, and the shade Delphine is this gorgeous peachy pink that just melts into the skin. It looks so flawless. It looks like a part of your skin. It's beautiful. I just love everything about the way this blush looks, and I haven't used it in so long. So I think this is a really great summer shade. I think that's why it's kind of been neglected, but I'm very, very excited to try to get my usage out of this as well. I've also taken a look through my collection, and there are no bronzers that look like they are going to have pan anytime soon. So I've decided that I am going to be adding in my bronzers with a usage goal. And because I do have a lot less bronzer than I do blush, I'm going to put 15 as my usage goal for my bronzers. So for this month, I am putting in the NARS Laguna Bronzing Cream in Laguna 01. I love this one too. This is like my favorite cream bronzer following the Charlotte Tilbury. This is just a really beautiful one. It's also that thicker, moussey consistency that just melts into the skin. It looks so flawless and so beautiful. I do have a bit of a dip here in the center, so I am excited to have this in the project for a while. I haven't reached for it in a long time because I've had the Charlotte Tilbury in my collection, but I will keep this in with the usage goal of 15. And because I took out my Charlotte Tilbury foundation, I realized I wasn't really having fun having a foundation in the project. I really have my go-to foundations that I love and enjoy using all the time, so I'm not going to have a foundation there. I do have a concealer though that I love reaching for every single time I do my makeup, that I recently bought a backup for because I like it so much and I assume this is getting low. I'm adding in the Natasha Denona High Glam Concealer because this is my favorite concealer. I've been raving about this for about a year now. I love this concealer. It's really hard to tell how much usage I've got. I can see that we're scraping the sides a little bit here. I don't know how much of this is left, but I use it every single time I do my makeup anyway, so let's just make it part of the project. And like I said, I have already purchased a backup because I assumed I was getting low. So I would like to use this one up. I do naturally reach for this one every single time anyway. I noticed when handling this one compared to the new one, this one is definitely a lot lighter, so there cannot be much left. I think this will be a lot of fun to have in the project. It's going to be hard to track, but I'll know when it's empty. So we'll just keep working away at this one because I love it anyway. And I also decided to put in a lip product that looks like it's getting pretty low because I feel like that'll be fun to see the progress. I'm going to put in my Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss in the shade Rosy Outlook. I've had this one for quite a while also, and I think it's beautiful. I do have a mini of this shade though, so I kind of do want to use this one up. I don't need two of the same shades, and I noticed this is also getting low. So I thought, let's just throw it in. And this is a nice one because it is like a really light baby pink, but it's almost clear. So it's really great to put on over top of anything else. And it's a really beautiful gloss. This is probably one of my favorite plumping glosses I've ever tried because it definitely does make the lips look more plump and full, but it doesn't hurt at all. I actually am working on a lip plumper roundup video, so if you're interested in that, stay tuned because that is coming, but I would like to add this one into the project as well. And that is it. So I am really excited about the changes that I'm making to my project this month. I feel reinvigorated, freshened up, more excited. So I can't wait to see what kind of progress we make this month. I know we're going to have a guaranteed empty with that Lawless setting spray, and everything else I'm just going to keep working away at. But let me know down below, how is your project going? What are your thoughts? What kind of little things do you do in your project that sort of keep you excited? Let me know. I just love hearing from you guys so much. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!